As I said earlier, I intend to be a partner in securing a better future. We're going to be working, you're going to be working with the United States, and we're going to make sure that the Middle East is going to be a safe and secure place. It's a very important place in the world, means so much. There were so many people who said the Middle East, and this has been going for many, many decades. I've read it many times that World War III will begin in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There was a time that you would have thought it could have, but it's not going to happen. There won't be World War III, hopefully at all, but it's not going to start in the Middle East. We're not going to have a World War III if we're smart. There'll never be a World War III. World War III will begin in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There was a time that you would have thought it could have, but it's not going to happen. There won't be World War III, hopefully at all, but it's not going to start in the Middle East. We're not going to have a World War III if we're smart. There'll never be a World War III. World War III will begin in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There was a time that you would have thought it could have, but it's not going to happen. There won't be World War III, hopefully at all, but it's not going to start in the Middle East. We're not going to have a World War III if we're smart. There'll never be a World War III. Together over the next few years, we're going to make our military stronger, tougher, faster, fiercer, and more powerful than it has ever been before. I rebuilt our nuclear, as you probably know, but we'll upgrade that also and just hope we never have to use it. We have to hope we never have to use it, because the power of that is so incredible. I see things, I don't think they'd show it to you. I really wouldn't want them to show it to you. But when you see the result of what's left, you never want to use that. Never, never, ever. We were a little bit threatened by Russia recently, and I sent a submarine, nuclear submarine, the most lethal weapon ever made. Number one, you can't detect it. There's no way. We're 25 years ahead of Russia and China in submarines. Russia's actually second in submarines. China's third, but they're coming up. They're coming up. They're way lower in nuclear too, but in 5 years they'll be equal. They're coming up. And you don't have to be that good with nuclear. You could have 1/20th what you have now and still do the damage. That would be, that'd be so horrendous. But I announced that, based on his mention of nuclear, and it was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear, I moved a submarine or two, I won't say about the two, over to the coast of Russia, just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them. Can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer, but it's something we don't ever want to even have to think about. But when somebody mentions it, that submarine started immediately thereafter. And it's just lurking, but I'm sure we're not going to have to use it. But it's an amazing, it's undetectable, totally. Ours is, theirs isn't. Theirs are totally detectable. We can detect them easily. We go right to the spot. But we have genius apparatus that doesn't allow detection. It doesn't allow detection at all by anybody, above water or below water. It's incredible. We're way ahead of everybody in that, and other things. As a result of the exciting renewal of the spirit of our armed forces, and that's what it is.
All praise to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, the great millstone rule, who have been the greatest example to his younger brothers in the truth. And peace and blessing to the hopeful lick. Lord willing, this an edifying listen. And this a video from the elder Monatazakba, GMS, South Carolina. It say Trump say World War III won't happen. The Bible, what did it say? The Bible say it will, and I'm gonna just type mine. Trump gonna eat it. Nero 47 gonna eat his words because according to the scriptures, World War III will happen. It ain't nothing you devils can do to upset that prophecy. Uh, that's a precept I was thinking of too. Let me grab it real quick and then I go back to that. Because you devils think you controlling something, you think you running something. When you don't have free will, you're not in control of yourself. You created the weapons. The Lord used you devils to create the weapons of His indignation. But this was one of the precepts I was thinking about, but I ain't never get it. This the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 1. Thwadi Halbashim Yashai, because it did just come back to me. The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord, as rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Yeah, and we know that word heart in Hebrew is loud, going into the mind. And the king's heart's like it. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, man. And who is the king of Babylon? Donald Trump himself. I don't see another uh nigger Mike getting in there. Let me stop playing. Another Edomite getting in there. And and likewise, brothers, we don't see this shit going past Trump. And say it go long, we hear another 4 years. Lord forbid. Say we hear another 4 years. Trump gonna do something where he ain't gonna come up out of that motherfucker, man. You know? But how shit going, it'll be a surprise to be in Babylon another 4 years. Which that ain't a long time, but still and all. How fast time going. This year over with. 2025 over with. We get ready to go in 2026. Time is speeding up, man. You know? Time is speeding up. And the Lord is speeding up time for the elect's sake. But these devils are proud. They think they're gonna upset prophecy. Trump announces permanent closure. Trump announces permanent closure of Democrat programs as shutdown drags on. I don't know what that's going to. But these devils are all over the place. You know. But World War III coming. All the prophecies of the scriptures are coming to pass. Trump can't stop shit, change shit. That nigga ain't shit. But the devil, man. He the king of Babylon that the Bible prophesied about. Because this a proud devil. But let's go back to Revelation 11 and verse 14. It reads, the second woe, World War II, is past. Which woe just go into destruction. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Going into World War III. So the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right after World War II, they thought World War III was coming during the time of the Cold War. That's why they had the nuclear race and all that shit. Because in World War II, America and Russia was kind of like together in a sense, kind of allied against Germany. But afterwards, they split apart. The Soviet Union and the Cold War and the Cuban Missile Crisis, all that shit. They was expecting World War III to come right after World War II between Russia and America. That's why they was racing to space, racing to build the first thermonuclear missile and all these different things with the splitting of those Temanites. But they created that weapon for the Lord indignation, the where it was an atomic bomb, and things kind of calmed down for a minute, and the Lord had them perfecting that weapon. The atomic bomb wasn't shit. That was just the beginning of what the Lord want them to create for the worst time ever. The technology and the power of the nuclear missile, that bomb that they have now is far greater than fat boy and little man, a little man and fat boy, big boy, however you say that shit. The missiles they got now, the warheads in those missiles they got now, is way more powerful than those atomic bombs they drop. But the point is, World War III is coming, and you devils think you're gonna escape prophecy, but you can't. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 11. It says, "So shall my words be." What words? The words written in the scriptures, the Lord's words that cometh out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I sent it. So these words that the Lord spoke are gonna stand. Let's get another one. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 35. It reads, "Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall stand." Yeah, so the Lord say his word's gonna stand, man. We know heaven and earth ain't gonna pass away, but the Lord just making good like shit. The Lord already solidified that these things are forever, heaven and the earth. So hey, before his words don't come to pass, heaven and earth will pass away. Which that ain't gonna pass away. If you put it in the sense of heaven, being the rulership of Esau, they in they heaven in this current earth age. Yeah, these things are gonna pass away. How things are, this age, that's gonna pass away. Because the Lord said, "I bring, I'm come. There's gonna be a new heaven and a new earth where dwells righteousness." You know, so you can equate it to that, but the earth will be forever, heaven will be forever. The spiritual realm, the outer space, the heavens is forever, the earth is forever, abided forever. But different precepts, will be talking about Esau. This current rulership, this age, all this gonna pass away, but the Lord's word ain't gonna pass away. That's gonna stand. You know, the Lord sent out His words, and they gonna accomplish the things whereunto He sent them, like the Scripture said. So you devils in trouble. You ain't getting out of this, man. You know, 2/3, you niggas, you listen to Trump. You listen to Nero 47 if you want to. He can't get you up out of what the Lord finna do. Nigga wiping sweat off their head. Trump said it wasn't gonna be World War III. Nigga, it's gonna be World War III. And you gonna be fighting in it. But it ain't gonna end like on that move, Will Smith snatching the angel out, stealing the chariot, and you know, Donald Trump sending one of his flunkies, one of these top military generals fly the chariot inside the fathership and blow up your house shot 144,000. That's fairy tale shit. That ain't gonna happen, man. Nothing was to be perceived but dust and the smell of smoke. Second Exodus 13. Go read that. That's when that was the Lord returning in the midst of World War III, man. In the midst of Jacob's trouble, in the midst of all hell breaking loose, and fighting. The Lord gonna return in the midst of World War III, and deliver his elect and destroy the armies of the earth, man. All the armies of the earth. Not just the American army, but the Chinese army, the Russian army, the Pakistani army, the IDF, Israeli defense. All these armies gonna go down, man. The Chinese army, million man army, Japan, who else? Who else? Who else? Korea, whoever else got an army. The African nations, everybody, man. You know, the Lord coming back conquering. He went forth conquering unto conquer, and that's why the scriptures say they gonna stop fighting and they gonna turn and fight the Lord, man. You know, they gonna put down, they set aside their differences, so to speak, in the midst of World War III, and turn and be afraid, but yet there's fight. It's gonna be terrible. The valley of decisions. The Lord is near in the valley of decision. That's speaking about World War III, and it's gonna be in the Middle East. The least of flock for to draw you devils out, man. You know, whether it be which we waiting on MOTB to come to pass. So until they start pushing that and people start, uh, he start causing people to receive it through deception, through uh, 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 death, death threats and different things like that. Loss of this world, losing in this world. People ain't gonna be willing to lose what they have in this world, what they worked so hard for. Why? Because they ain't gonna believe. They don't believe in these words that the Lord say gonna stand. The MOTB coming. You know, Jacob Trouble is coming. Race wars, class wars, civil war, all facet of war. People just finna lose their shit. It's gonna be this the old virgin daughter of Babylon, man. It's gonna be complete confusion, just like this country is ruled in complete confusion. And ultimately the whole earth is under the shadow of Babylon. Everybody move just like Babylon. Everybody trying to, you know, everybody have uh how you say it? I guess slept with the whore, in bed with the whore, drunk the wine of the whore. I can say that, drunk the wine of the whore, and they adopted the practices of this wicked ass place, man. What this is? Okay, let's get this. This the book of Jeremiah, chapter 55 and verse, I think, 43. This Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 34, it say, their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of America, of Babylon. It say, a sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon. And that sword that's going to be upon this place is war. And the ultimate sword that's going to be upon this place is thermonuclear destruction, man. That wet, glittering sword, man. That arrow. It's called an arrow as well. That shot from one end of the earth even into the other. You know, it say a sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon. And the Lord shall, and the Lord should, I'm Salaki, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon the mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all that, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. Yeah, all these different nations. It's a nigga from every nation, every part of the planet in America, man. You know, I said nigga, I'm talking about anybody. You know, but it's a different every damn, I don't know how to put it. Every ethnicity, so to speak, is here in America. All the nations are here. All the Israelites are here. Esau definitely here. Moab, Ammon, Ham, Ishmael, Elam, all these different nations are here in Babylon. So those are mixed and mingled people. The sword is upon this place, man. It say, and they shall be as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall select it. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. It say, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. In America, you can worship whatever you want. You know, you got all kind of idols here, man. American idol. You got actual walk around people who people look at as gods. People idolize these people, such as Young Boy. Nigga, this nigga Young Boy doing that master tour. Motherfuckers running around and Young Boy we trust and all this old crazy shit. Young Boy don't give a fuck about you niggas, man. You know? And any up Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, anybody, think of somebody. These people are idolized here. You know? Donald Trump, Bill Gates, all these different people, these people are idolized. People see these different people and look at them like they gods, man. You know? And also actual images, Damn. So like him. Verse 39 it say, therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands. So like him. With the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owl shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. And they're speaking about the destruction of America. The same thing Revelation say. And this way in the Old Testament. It say neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. And this gonna happen when? During world after post World War Three. These beasts gonna inhabit this place. And this place will never be inhabited by man forever. Literally forever. Never. From generation to generation. Verse 40 it say, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah in the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Where? In Babylon. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast, like from the coast of the earth. It say, and they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel, and these nations gonna turn. They gonna fight against Babylon. They gonna shoot at her. They ain't gonna spare their arrows, man. You know. It say, and will not shew mercy. Their violence shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in battle array, like men of battle, against thee, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. And that's what's gonna happen to Donald J. Trump. This nigga gonna shit himself, man. The Lord getting ready to do some terrible things in the earth. And everything's World War Three gonna happen. The MOTB gonna happen first. World War Three already in the midst of is already being formed up. It's already prepared. These nations are already beefing. The war kind of already started, but it's soft war, trade wars, tariffs on each other, and just talking, so to speak. But eventually, things are gonna get hot. Boots gonna hit ground zero. You know, casualties gonna happen, and it's gonna lead to a big fight, man, a big battle of all the countries of the earth, man, against Babylon in the land of Israel, man. Cause Babylon gonna ride it out with those small houses, and that's pretty much the point on it. Um, this the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 18. It say pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Because when you listen to Trump, that was just a prideful statement, man. For you to say World War III ain't gonna happen just because you signed the peace treaties and you got these motherfuckers signing peace treaties, that don't mean World War III not gonna happen. When you read Ezekiel 38 and verse read the first beginning of Ezekiel 38, the Lord say, he gonna put hooks in Russia jaws, man. And you devils don't got a stronger nuclear arsenal than Russia, man. Russia has hypersonic thermonuclear missiles. America got thermonuclear missiles, but they don't have the propulsion system that Russia has. They don't have missiles that's traveling at Mach, the speed of sound, carrying goddamn 100 warheads, you know. And I'm just saying, so I don't know if they got missiles that carry that many warheads. But if you think these Russia only got 4,000 missiles and America got 5,000, America got 450, if you think that's the true number, you crazy as a fool, man. These devils ain't never stopped making missiles, man. But that number, when you ask how many missiles do this nation possess and that nation possess, it's gonna tell you some crazy number that's been the same for the last past 5 years since I've been checking it. 8 years, I mean, you know, 7 years, 7 years. It's gonna say the same number. They ain't added none. They ain't subtracted none. Here it is. They've been playing with these missiles all this time. It's like they make one missile and test it, and then they gotta remake. No, they make multiple. You know, and when they get a whole bunch of them made up, when they get them made, they test them and okay, we'll make a few more of these. We're gonna try to make one stronger, enrich the plutonium and all these old crazy the plutonium. I think that's what it said. Uranium, something enrichment that they trying to put sanctions on Iran. Tell them they can't enrich they uranium or some shit. But that's the devil. But at the end of the day, they are enriching. And hey, man, we here. World War III is approaching fast, swiftly. These things are gonna be happening sooner than you think, man. It ain't gonna be another 100 years. Then World War III gonna pop off a decade. What it is, a century later, a decade later, century. A century later, World War III popping off. 1,000 years later, here come World War III finally happened. The prophets died. You know, Babylon thrived for another 1,000 years. Everybody chipped up. Come on, man. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, and verse 11. It say, I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And the ultimate proud and the ultimate terrible is you Edomites as a whole, man. The international banking first and foremost, man. But Trump, these people are puppets. These different leaders, your kings, the kings of the earth, they puppets for the international banking family, fulfilling the will of the international banking family. thinking they gonna upset prophecy. But guess what? All you devils finna go on head first into captivity, man. That's where you headed to, into captivity, a long punishment, and you're gonna learn the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai during that punishment. You devils ain't gonna get up out of this one. You know, the Lord ain't trying to hit. You know, you can make all these lies up and point the finger and blame Jake and do all this shit, but guess what? The Lord don't want to hear that shit. You gonna pay. You gotta pay to play. Let me stop. You played, so you finna pay. This the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 1. You know, just grab this. In verse 1, it reads, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord, concerning Edom, which are you so-called white people who rule the earth today. You know, in America is Babylon the Great, the most powerful nation on the planet. And this is Esau's nation. This place is the headquarters of you crackers, man. You know, this place where you had the Israelites enslaved here. You know, you stole the you stole first you stole the land from the Israelites, then you and slaughtered and then imprisoned and re-educated the Israelites, oppressed the Israelites. So this year, you can have this land, and you niggas need to get it through your head. Let them have this shit. Let them have this is their land, and this land is you know allotted for eternal damnation, man, to never be inhabited again. So yeah, you can have this shit. Lord finna destroy America, man. You know, through all the other nations, not just Russia and China, but also read Revelation 17. Also the allies that are with Babylon, the mother of harlots. You know, it say we have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise and let us rise up against her in battle. It say, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee. That's all I wanted. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's how these devils feel. That's why he's talking about ain't gonna be no World War III and this and that. And we sign peace treaties with this. Man, look, that ain't gonna get you up out of motherfucking thing. You devils break every treaty you come up with anyway. So we know you ain't gonna, we know that shit gonna get broke and tensions gonna flare. You can make 1,000 more peace treaties for World War III in the next 3 years, 2 years, next year, and you gonna break them all, and World War III still gonna happen, no matter what you do. And those not your missiles. These missiles and crafts are the Lord missiles. And Esau got these missiles all over the earth, man. And guess what? Who else all over the earth? Wherever the missiles at, the angels. You know, these ain't your missiles, Esau. When I say the angels, if you devils watching, I'm talking about the chariots of the Lord, the so-called unidentified area phenomena, UAPs, UFO, whatever you want. Dang. So like I don't know where it stopped at. But yeah, that's why you see these why you see the chariots all over the place, because Esau got the missiles all over the place from submarines and different, uh, silos and shit like that. And these are the Lord's missiles. These ain't Esau's missiles. This not Esau weaponry. This Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah weaponry, and it's gonna be used on a certain specific time. That's why you got old videos going into how a chariot came up over a nuclear site and the countdown started, and the people was terrified. And they say they seen the chariot hovering, and the number counted down all the way to lunch, and there wasn't nothing they can do to stop it. And they didn't start it, and it stopped right at zero and went to normal. Scared the shit out the devil, man. And guess what? The mighty men that was in there, them different military, you know, people, they was afraid. They were terrified, you know, and there wasn't nothing they can do to stop it. But let's grab this. This is the book of Exodus because, hey, the Lord is a man of war, man. And that's how he wants this place to go out. Is it 15? 15 to 3. Yeah, the Lord is a man of war, which means his son is a man of war. So guess what you finna get? War. War is coming. The Lord with war. The Lord, the only way to bring peace is through war. This is the book of Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. It say the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. That's like a mighty king. Two mighty kings can't rule at the same time. War has to be waged and somebody got to bow down. Somebody got to stand down, and Esau gonna have to stand down. Not only Esau, but all the rest of the heathen nations. You ain't gonna be able to worship idols and that paganism, that shit ain't gonna be allowed in the kingdom of heaven. Eat what you want, do what you want. No, you gonna follow the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Why? Because he is a great king. He getting ready to rule in the earth, man. You know? And righteousness is coming to this planet and it's gonna reign. So wickedness will be eliminated out the earth, man. Simple as that. But World War III is coming. Nero 47 ass ain't gonna stop shit. He can say what he want, but guess what? The Lord words. The Lord said what he want, and they gonna be fulfilled. The Lord words are gonna come to pass, man. That's why the scriptures speak about blessed is he that keep the word of my patience. Though it's a thing of suffering and seem like it's taking a tearing. We got to keep these words that are written in these scriptures and believe that, and not get caught up in this world, caught up in this life. Though we go along and do as we have to do, we law-abiding citizens. We go to work and take care of bills and do these different things. We ain't wreaking havoc in the earth, but we do these different things. But we know that this place is through. This place is gonna be destroyed. Why? Because that's what they said the Lord, and we believe what the Lord said over what the devil say. And that's why the Lord say, "Woe to you, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that run down to Egypt for help." You got niggas who gonna hear this and get a sense of relief. I thought, man, that was a close one. At least Trump said it ain't gonna be World War III. If can't nobody stop it, he can stop it. God damn. Fucking niggas, man. But that's pretty much the point. Lord, when this is edifying, I want to end it, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Hakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, rule web, and great example says, young brothers in the truth, peace and blessings to the hopeful lit. Shalom. Kwame Yashala in the Baba. Shalom.